Okay, people. My apologies for everything being so completely late. I know I was trying to put up my Q&A as well as trying to get this review up, but honestly, my computer has been on the fritz as of late. It's also been I've had a huge amount of problems with YouTube as of late, and and other things going on at work. So honestly, I'm gonna do my best to try to have this up. My Q&A is gonna probably come up maybe around, I don't know, Sunday, either Sunday or possibly early Monday. But either or, guys, this is going to be not an NG minute, but a Smackdown review because I fell asleep watching TNA. So I'm going to get started with the Smackdown review and try to make it as short as possible. Now, honestly, guys, I absolutely love Triple H's new character. I really do. It actually does give it a whole corporate vibe, especially him being the corporate good guy and Stephanie being the corporate bad guy. But honestly, when I think of a corporate takeover, I think of like two people in agreement of how things should go. But it just seems to me that Stephanie and Triple H are polar opposites when it comes to how they react to things. But regardless of that, it doesn't necessarily affect the storyline. It still makes the storyline continue smoothly in a way. But when I think of Battleground as a pay-per-view, when you think of a battleground, you think of a war zone. You think of two opponents or more than one opponent going at it like one big giant war. Ignore that. But honestly, um, when I think of a battleground, that is what I think of. And so far, I have not really seen anything that made me feel like it's going to be a battleground for this pay-per-view. So far, they actually have two matches on the card. They have the World Heavyweight Championship match, and they also have the WWE match. Now, for this whole corporate takeover, the entire storyline was circled around Daniel Bryan. It's not so much anymore. It's more like those that just go against authority, and also the Big Show. For some strange reason, I don't really know why the Big Show is a target of constant ridicule. But I will admit, I kind of did like the fact that Triple H was kind of like, him crying too much because it was ridiculous. He's a giant. I mean, you didn't see Shawn Michaels shedding a tear every 5 minutes when he was taken over by JBL. No, he continued to do what he had to do, and he fought to get out. He didn't whine and cry like a baby. But, I mean, and honestly, I kind of understand why Triple H kind of pointed that out. I just want to see my giant come out. I want to see my giant return. But as for the matches themselves, they really weren't all that bad. Was it geared towards a pay-per-view? No, not at all. Does the Wyatt still have a meaning or a purpose in the storyline? No. Do we still have any idea what happened to Kane? No. And I'm not really sure if we're ever going to. But as for the Divas match, I really did not care. But I will say this. Cameron has really been practicing a lot. She's actually starting to improve day by day when she actually does wrestle. But I will say this. AJ Lee now having Tamina as a bodyguard is just, good grief. It's demoting for Tamina. There's so much more going on with this woman, but let's face it, there is no one in the Divas division that can compete with her. And it's just a shame. Now she's like lower to being a bodyguard. I would love to actually see her as a women's champion than just see her as a bodyguard. Poor Tamina. I don't know what they're going to do with her, and I'm really tempted not to do a piece on her. But regardless of that, the match itself was not all that bad. The matches of the night really weren't all that bad, and they usually aren't. But my whole gripe of this thing is that you really do want your matches to be geared towards the actual pay-per-view. And the name of the pay-per-view is pretty much what really does hype people up. You're calling this Battleground, which means that you have to start beefing up your feuds and beefing it hard. The only feud that they actually been beefing up so far is Randy Orton versus The Miz. It's a given that these two are going to have a match at Battleground. For what reason, I don't know. But there is going to possibly be a match with them at Battleground. And that's the only storyline that seems to be beefing up right now. As for Paul Heyman, I'm kind of getting sick of seeing him on my screen. He really doesn't have any purpose at all since he beat CM Punk. There's really nothing for him and no reason for him to be on screen. At all, period. Unless something's going on with Ryback. I think that he should be pushing Ryback than be pushing himself. That's just how I see it. And Curtis Axel has just been holding that title like a glorified prop, and it has gotten on my last nerve. Seriously. he really needs to start defending his title and at least try to find opponents that really want to have the IC belt. But honestly, I mean, it just bothers me to no end to see that. But I will say this: I like the exclusive pieces that they actually have with Triple H and Michael Cole. I'm going to actually try to find that video and put it on my Wrestling Fan Nation site. So for those that are interested about it, I'm probably going to put it up on that site. And will more than likely try to, I'm going to try to put it in the comment section if I find it. But if not, I'm going to put it on the Wrestling Fan Nation page. So by all means, check that out. If I forget to put it on that site, it's going to be on the Wrestling Fan Nation page. But, seeing how the Triple H actually gave an invitation to Cody Rhodes to come out on Monday Night Raw is interesting in itself. I am curious to see exactly where they're going to go with this, especially Goldust and Cody Rhodes and their dad being there. And I'm wondering whether or not, I mean, my guess is that they're probably going to gun for the brothers going against each other, because I would not be surprised they do like, look, we have one slot, and it's going to be either one of y'all, and whoever wins is going to have their job back. I'm seeing this a mile away, and I have a feeling that's what they're going to do. They're going to have Dustin Rhodes or Goldust versus Cody Rhodes. And I really do feel they're going to have a match at Battleground, brother versus brother. And I really would like to see a brother versus brother match on a pay-per-view, because not only will it be a lot more heartfelt, it will be a lot more emotionally driven. Like, it will definitely be a match that will just tug at your heartstrings. And that's what they really need right now for a pay-per-view. But for the whole ending, the whole main event was Randy Orton versus The Miz. Seeing how The Miz had a segment with Triple H, pretty much talked about how unfair he was treated and everything. And I am starting to notice how Triple H is playing the good guy, but he's definitely truly a corporate heel. And seeing how he just made it a DQ out of the blue and had to be a pinfall submission to win. Well, it's a given that, you know, Triple H is still holding the cards. And that's why I really do like his new character. His new character isn't outrightly brutal like Stephanie's character is. He has a bit of finesse when he does it. And he kind of covers up that he's a bad guy by having a good guy face, but a bad guy interior. So I'm loving that. I don't like Stephanie's character so much because she's outright brutally honest. You want to see that heel character to be sneaky, a slithery snake. Like, and that's the kind of heels that I actually do enjoy watching. Because in the end, they're going to get the biggest comeuppance ever. And it's going to probably be a real welcoming and satisfying event that will happen when everything is broken and you broke the corporate hold. And it's going to be a really great payout, and that's how I feel like it's going to be. But honestly, the overall show it did absolutely nothing for Battleground for me. It didn't make me feel like it's going to be a battleground for this pay-per-view, but the matches themselves really weren't all that bad, but it just didn't do anything for the pay-per-view in my opinion. But I want to hear y'all's thoughts on this. Leave a comment in the comment section below or send me a video response on how you feel Smackdown went. It's Nature Girl 30 signing off. Peace out. Later.